Dan Romanello. That's my grandson. I'm his grandpa.
So this is my grandfather, Dan Romanello. And he is our World War II veteran, and we're going to start off by asking him some questions. What war did you serve in?
World War II, European Theater of Operation. ETO, they call it.
What year did you enter?
January 15th, 1943.
So, did you recruit or?
Drafted.
You were drafted?
Yes, I was drafted. I started as a buck private like everybody else. I enjoyed the service completely. I really did. I really did. It was my first time away from home.
How did you feel being away from home wise?
I think I was kind of energized by it. The fact that I had to make my own decisions. You know, nobody told me what to do, when to do, how to do it, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I was energized by it. The guys would send their stuff in a laundry bag with their names on it, and also their Army number, so that we knew who it belonged to, and we had to make sure that all that stuff was clipped and ready to go, so that we didn't lose any of it. And after it was done and all dried and everything, back into the bag it went, and the guys sent back to them. So they had clean clothes all the time, which was nice. Yeah. And I became a corporal finally before I left the unit. But anyhow, I became a radio man in the armored infantry. And that was, we had what you call half tracks. They had wheels, regular wheels on the front and tracks on the back, just like a tank, all right? And it was open in the back, so it wasn't closed up like a tank. And we'd get to where we wanted to go, we'd get out just like infantry and operate as an infantry person. And it was some unique experience. There are some good, some bad. On a Christmas Eve, I was sitting on the top of a hill, guard duty, and crying when they delivered me a full turkey meal. And I sat there and tried to eat that and crying. It was Christmas Eve, away from home. So we took off the next day on the first combat mission, and it was outside of the Bulge. And our job was to, along with others, is to free up people in the Bulge.
You say the rat races across Germany.
Well, the situation was once the Bulge, the people were released from the Bulge, then there was a rat race, because the guys that were keeping the Wehrmacht, which is the regular German army, up front were the special forces. Those special forces wore black uniforms, and they were mean, absolutely. And you know, they forced these people to stay up front. But once we broke through that particular line at Bastogne, they took off, and the guys in the black uniforms took off, and the guys surrendered. Then, you know, they were kind of dispersing all over the place, and it was our job, along with the infantry and everything else, to go to every town, every house, and make sure that everything was secure. And so we, you know, that's what I call it a rat race, because we moved quickly into an area, see to it that it was clear, and then move on to another area. And they did that methodically, all the way across the rest of Germany. There were a few things that happened in that rat race across Germany. The one that got to me the most was a situation where we were in an apartment building. We went through that house, and we got up on the second floor, and we found a lady in bed, shot in the head, a baby in a crib. The baby wasn't any bigger than this, shot in the head. And this trooper, called SS trooper, with a black uniform, laying on the floor in the next room, shot in the head. And that crushed me, I'll tell you. Seeing that baby in that bed, I cried. I couldn't help it. You know, it was just, and that's the way war was. You know, some of our guys were just as mean and as bad as the others. I saw them knocking the teeth out of the dead soldiers and taking the gold teeth out, and also searching to find money or whatever else, took the rings off. so on and so forth. So we had some people, the war will do that to you, until we got to Linz, Austria. And Linz, Austria is where we ended up. The war had ended. The day that we landed in the United States, the war ended in the South Pacific. Anyhow, I guess that's about all. I was injured with a bullet, hit me in the arm. I got a Purple Heart to show for it. It hit me in the arm. I was climbing a fence and this bullet hit me in the arm. The medics took care of me and took me downstairs underneath the ground. There was a German hospital there, and they treated me. And then released me to go back to our hospital, wherever it was at. Well, I was about to go back to our hospital for one reason and one reason only. I want to stay with my unit. So I found him the next day. I enjoyed just as much going back home. But I didn't dwell on what had happened in the past. My life has been spent dwelling in the future. And that future is my family. This woman was a friend of my sister's. They went to school together. I was in the same school, but I was 4 or 5 years ahead of her. Okay, 4.5 years difference in our age. And first time I met her, I was on a streetcar, and sitting next to her, and my sister was sitting in the seat behind us. We'd all worked downtown. I fell asleep on her shoulder. And there was a dance at the church the following Sunday night, and my sister said, well, my brothers were home on furlough also. Would you go? I said, yeah, we'll go. So we went to the dance, and I got to dance with my wife a few times. She was there with a date, and I said, the dance was over. I said, can I take you home? She said, sure. I said, okay. So we come out of the church, turn left, walk about a half a block. She says, this is where I live. I said, oh, baloney. I hollered to my brother and sister, wait for me. Well, anyhow, we finally had a date the next week. Went to we had a date in a bowling alley with a couple of friends of ours. And she beat me the first game. I'll never forgive her for that. Yeah, she beat me, but I beat her the other two. Anyhow, but we've been married to 65 years with 14 children. I enjoyed the service. I didn't volunteer. I was wounded. I entered the war. I come home, and I did all these other good things. So, and I thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.